Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the final round of our F124 Let's Make Lando Norris World Champion career mode. Yes, we return this weekend here to Abu Dhabi, and yes, unlike real life Formula 1 in 2024, we have got a world title decider. Max Verstappen comes into this weekend with a 15-point buffer over Lando Norris, so the odds are still very much against us in terms of the championship, but we're just hoping today we can try and finish ahead of him, outscore him by enough points, and maybe, just maybe, we walk away with a world championship. Of course, obviously, points currently on your screens. Like we said, you know, no one else is anywhere near us. It is just between ourselves and Verstappen heading into this final round of the campaign. I've actually had to go back through and do the maths, obviously combining the real-life results from prior to Zandvoort, and then obviously the in-game results from obviously Monza onwards. Verstappen actually still has one more win than us so far in the campaign, and annoyingly he has more second places as well. So if it's a tie come the end of the season, if we outscore him by exactly 15 points here, it's done. Max Verstappen will win the World Championship by 0 points, which would be quite impressive. He's got 9 wins to our 8. I believe then he's also got 8 second places to our 7 inside this series so far. So when we've won quite big. It was really kind of Brazil that was the big turnaround in terms of that series as well. There, of course, gave us that huge points haul over the Dutchman. But yeah, for one final time then this season, let's head out then into one-shot qualifying. Of course, if you're new around here and you aren't already, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well. When this video goes out, I will currently be on a plane flying to Australia, so hopefully I've got all the videos sorted in time. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy all the content we've got coming out between now and the end of the year. But yeah, let's head then out onto the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix circuit.
Welcome to qualifying. It is time to have some laps at the limit in Abu Dhabi.
Well, our qualifying record this year hasn't been stellar, but we did take both pole positions last weekend in Qatar, which is obviously something that Lando Norris couldn't quite manage in the IRL GP. I mean, what did we make of that weekend? It was just a little bit kind of chaotic and sloppy, wasn't it, by the FIA? But Verstappen, again, obviously did a very, very good job to obviously walk away with the victory. And obviously, yeah, Lando Norris, just that really odd error under the yellow flag conditions as well, ultimately cost him any chance of trying for the fight for the win. And of course, yeah, in this series, we are battling Verstappen for the world title. See, IRL, it's going to be Lando Norris, versus Charles Leclerc heading into the final race of 2024. So, you know, I'm not too worried, to be honest, who comes out in P2. Let's be fair, no one ever remembers who finished second in a Formula 1 World Championship anyway, but so far on this lap, Leclerc seems to be able to deliver. He just has not had enough against Verstappen and I throughout the kind of, well, pretty much throughout this entire series we've done. Verstappen and I have traded victories since we kick-started this campaign, mirroring real life back at Monza. But yeah, what can we do here this afternoon then as we try and shut the car through these final couple of corners? I've set it up so hopefully we're going to be nice and strong through this final sector there. You see Verstappen has absolutely got this lap hooked up there. One more corner to go. Oh, a little bit wide on the way in there, a little bit of a wobble on the way out. It's only P9 on the grid. That is pretty disappointing. Lando Norris may be a bit disillusioned towards the end of the season IRL, but inside this series, yeah, that is not what we needed. P9 we will line up on the grid here in Abu Dhabi. At least Oscar Piastri will line up alongside Max Verstappen, but we basically need the Dutchman to finish 5th, and we would need fastest lap and the race victory. Either that, or he comes 6th and we take the win. So we haven't got much room to manoeuvre here, but let's head then into the race.
The roar of the crowd can only mean one thing, really. Race day has arrived here in Abu Dhabi. It's time to join our teams who are getting ready down on the grid. The drivers will be racing here at Yas Marina Circuit through 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass, with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, turns 8 and 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Norris, Gasly, Stroll, Tsunoda, Ocon, Ricciardo, Albon, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Magnussen, Joe, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, here we are then down on the grid one final time this season, and I've got to hope that Oscar Piastri can try and help us out here early on. Try and put a move on Verstappen. You know, really for us, obviously we're going to have to go with the alternate strategy just to try and make sure that we lock down that fastest lap bonus point as well. So we're going to go hard tyres at the start, really struggle in the early laps, but then hopefully the pace will come towards us later on. But obviously, yeah, Piastri can help us. Perez can still definitely help out Max here as well early on, as it is looking very, very overcast here in Abu Dhabi. But for one final time then in 2024, it is 5 red lights. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go there. Hamilton and George Russell not getting off to a particularly good start. So we're immediately trying to look past George. Well, in towards someone. Then we've got Lance Stroll trying to turn across me for whatever reason. Apparently that's my fault, despite the fact Pierre Gasly was in the way as well. There looks like Carlos Sainz has gone in pursuit of Verstappen early on. We're going to try and make a move on Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez as we make our way down into the hairpin there. So that was a critical move to try and make on lap 1. Looks like Perez has made good gains as well there, and we're running quite high downforce around this circuit. So even Fernando Alonso even trying to get a run on us there, as Perez will again try and just cover him off into the very next braking zone there. But looks like pretty much everybody else then on the medium compounded tyre early on in this GP as we'll try and get a run on Charles Leclerc as we make our way down in towards the hairpin. Yeah, look at that Sainz. Haven't seen him win a race inside this series. Of course, did win the Australian Grand Prix early on in 2024. But yeah, obviously, I'm into P4 though. This has been a really, really good start when all is said and done there. But I'm a little bit worried already at the gap that our top 2 have already been able to bring out. I think it'll be in our best interest to try and just float behind Oscar here for at least a few laps early on, to try and use the extra pace like we saw McLaren do in Qatar. Still not entirely sure why Lando let Oscar by. Apparently it was kind of payback for Brazil. But yeah, just the way he did it was very, very weird. But yeah, let's hope that Oscar Piastri's got some good pace and that Verstappen and Sainz begin to battle. As I mentioned at the end of that Qatar video, it was a slightly ominous message when I went back to edit that one, but we will do anything within our power to try and win this Grand Prix here today and make sure that we get the points over Verstappen as well. There is Oscar Piastri didn't actually want him to go defensive on me there, as it looks like Sainz starting to battle and has actually made the move work on the Dutchman. Verstappen, though, he's going to try and come back at him off the exit of the corner there, and this really helps out everybody a little bit further back. I don't actually want to get the run on Oscar Piastri right now. I just want to work together with him. Stop going defensive. I'm not going to go for the move. The AI on this game, they can be quite good sometimes, but other times they can be infuriating. I think we've got to try and pull the trigger on Oscar then at the moment. We've just got to try and do it in such a way that we can potentially get in the range of Sainz and Verstappen as well. So we just need to absolutely drain the battery as we make our way down this straight. Annoyingly, doesn't look like Sainz that time around is able to attack Max though. That's kind of what we're hoping for, that they go side by side into more of the corners here. But if we try and again drain the battery on the exit, let's just pull the trigger and go for it. Sainz cannot get the run on Max, but hopefully through sector 3 we are going to be quite quick as well. There we go, new fast lap of the day. That is really good going there. And well, Abu Dhabi in a weird way is a bit like Suzuka inside F124. The AI really like to run very low downforce around this circuit. Of course, gives them a lot of speed down the straights. But unlike Suzuka, they actually take the setup too far, I think, and they just have not got enough performance through the corners. I know this McLaren, one of the best cars anyway in 2024, obviously, you know, through the high-speed corners especially. But here in Abu Dhabi, making our way through that final sector, it was working really, really nicely for us. And we've immediately latched onto the back of these two in front. Will we see Sainz this time round being able to get a run on Verstappen as he opens up the DRS once again. Maybe just trying to wait until Verstappen is even more vulnerable there, as now Leclerc and Piastri battling further behind. So, yeah, this does not bode well for us. Oscar Piastri dropping down the order. We've somehow got to try and find a way to force Max back. Of course, Carlos Sainz has been teammates with both Max Verstappen and Lando Norris in his Formula 1 career, so he'll know exactly what these guys can be like, where their strengths lie, and maybe where their weaknesses are. But at the moment, he's just not attacking Verstappen enough. And as those cars behind continue to battle, we need to try and force them into kind of battling with each other. Here we go now. Carlos Sainz going to try and get the run around the outside of the Dutchman. Max, I'm sure, will try and cover him off into the corner there. That Carlos Sainz hangs on firm. We'll try and get a run around the outside of the Ferrari. Thanks, Mark. We're watching this happen live there as we somehow find an avenue down the inside of Verstappen as well. We're going to make it 3 wide on the exit of the corner there, and Verstappen goes from first to third. I'm happy to let Sainz have the position for now. I just want to try and hold Max up. Right, well, let's try and go for a run then on Carlos as well. Just want to make sure we lose as little time as we can. So Sainz... Oh, hello. That's not what I wanted to do. Ugh. Huge moment of rear locking there down at the chicane, and that was not ideal. Luckily, the hard tyres should still be able to hang on in there, and now I guess we've got the job of trying to drag Leclerc back in, so... Well, Lando Norris, a bit of a bottle job in 2024. I'm known for it as well on these games. Just a little bit of a mistake there, locking the rears. But now we've got to really push hard again. Here we go again then. Verstappen now, once more. I mean, it's such a game of cat and mouse here early on. As Verstappen trying to have a look again for the run around the outside of Carlos Sainz. And again, will they trip each other over? Yes, they will. And we are now just inside the DRS range, so we've been able to bring Leclerc and Perez with us. And maybe a couple of other cars as well. Ferrari, of course, they're not in the Constructors' battle either inside this game. We did wrap that up last weekend as McLaren, which, of course, yeah, that one is going to go down to the wire here in Abu Dhabi this weekend, IRL. But yeah, look at that suddenly now. Obviously, we know that Perez will work with Max here towards the end of the race. But we've got our teammates still waiting in the wings. Are we going to see some of the AI pitting? These hard tyres are really hanging on very, very well at the moment. Will we see Verstappen in? No, we won't. Carlos stays out as well. But Leclerc and Perez are going to come in. So this is really, really useful for us, because if we can get back to the front, Oscar Piastri as well is into the pit lane there. So if we can get ahead of Sainz and Verstappen, we could potentially try and back both of these guys up and let their teammates undercut them here, as Verstappen again just trying to break free at the front of the order. Let's see if we can have a look for a move down the inside of Carlos. Should be a fairly simple one once more there, as we've just got so much downforce on this car. I think we've probably ran slightly too much downforce here today, but doesn't stop us having some pretty decent top speed as well. They're just trying to close in on Max Verstappen. We're going to make it clear that we're going for the move. Of course, IRL definitely block this. We're ahead at the apex. That's all that matters. Ahead at the apex there, as Verstappen will wallop the inside curbing as well there. That might leave him vulnerable to Carlos Sainz on the exit. But now we've got to do what Perez did in 2021 against Lewis here. These are just the games, sadly, the FIA allow you to play. So we will go really, really slowly into that corner there. Just trying to hold up Verstappen as best as we can there. Doing everything within our power. Well, it's Verstappen. He's not going to have any of it. Verstappen back down the inside. We'll roll the car into the corner. It's not exactly the way we should be doing things, but it's absolutely the way we're going to do it at the moment. As hopefully this will be the difference then. We'll allow those others to undercut there, as all three of them are going to dive into the pit lane. We're going to try and go at least one lap longer on our hards. But let's wait and see. Has Perez, Leclerc and Oscar got the jump? Well, take a look at that then on the mini-map. I think, yeah, Verstappen got held up in the pit lane even worse than we were expecting. So Leclerc now suddenly has got a big old lead in front of everybody else, or effectively net lead, of course, in this GP. Carlos Sainz, though, with a P2 with Perez ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I think even Oscar Piastri as well is ahead of Verstappen there, so he got really, really screwed over in the pit lane. And, well, we're going to try and go at least a couple of laps longer. I'm tempted to try and pull the trigger, go on the soft compound tyre to the end of the afternoon. The gap to Leclerc is about 17 seconds. Let's just see how much time we lose. Like, just watching the gaps to everybody else at the moment. Our hard tyres Still working really, really nicely at the moment. We are going to peel into the pits at the end of this lap. I've got to give myself enough time towards the end of the afternoon to try and get around Leclerc and probably Sainz as well. But we might get ahead of Perez and Lewis Hamilton here. But more importantly, if you look on the mini-map, Verstappen, he's just not got any pace at the moment. He's still battling with Oscar Piastri and Fernando Alonso here, so it's really not going the way Verstappen would have wanted right now. As over onto a set of the softs will go.
Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that.
I mean, I wonder if Perez now is trying to back Lewis up just like he did in 2021 to try and make this work for Max still and potentially keep his seat for another year. But as we make our way then back out the pit lane, of course, all of that is irrelevant if we still don't win this race. If we were to finish P3 with fastest lap, we need Verstappen not to score. He's not having a great time right now, but he's definitely still going to score points in this GP. But now, on fresher, two-stage softer tyres than anybody else, can we try and get the run instantly on Carlos Sainz? I've got to be really, really careful with where I go for these moves. The last thing I want to do is screw over the Ferrari cars that have got such an advantage over everybody else. As around the outside of Sainz will go, he will not make my life difficult. I mean, let's try and use this lap then, just like we did in Qatar, to try and make sure that we bag ourselves fastest lap bonus point. Admittedly, we have still got it. The tyres early on wore in a very, very weird way. We just had a couple of laps of really, really good pace in the wagon. Actually, I don't think we'll get the DRS this time, annoyingly. And we did get it on our fastest lap, so maybe we'll have timed that one pretty well. Purple, though, through Sector 1 as we shut the car through the hairpin. Not quite going to get the range this time, I don't think, on Leclerc, but maybe we can do so down the second straight. You can see Perez, him backing up Lewis Hamilton, is working quite well here. Verstappen has still got Alonso hanging onto his coattails. But if I had to guess up and down the order, Perez and Alonso would probably want Verstappen to win the world title. I know Leclerc and Max aren't particularly good friends. Carlos Sainz, I'm sure, from all their spats at Toro Rosso, would not be happy. So I think, yeah, there's quite a few drivers here that would probably rather Lando Norris wins the world title than Verstappen. I'm sure Hamilton would like to see some almost redemption for 2021. Of course, the last time the championship went down to the wire here, but as we navigate our way then through the final few corners, we've only got 5 laps to go after this one. Things are getting very nip and tuck for the Dutchman a bit further back, but in towards the final turn. Let's just try and make sure that this fastest lap bonus point is guaranteed. 25.5. Unless someone gets very lucky. I can't see anybody getting quicker than that, as Verstappen, I think, yeah, now is very, very close to Perez once more. So that's not worked out well for us then. We've got to really monitor that. As long as, obviously, we win this race, Verstappen can come P5, but we would need the fastest lap bonus point as well. So, yeah, this is all getting very, very dicey here as we'll try and get a run on Charles Leclerc then. Put ourselves in the position we need towards the end of the afternoon. And back into P1 then. And I believe for the first time today, outside of obviously the pit laps, we are in position to win the world title. Now it just feels like we're at the hand of the racing gods here. Perez and Verstappen now up at a 4th and 5th. So Hamilton really did lose out in those battles going on over the last lap or so. Checo Perez really is earning his keep right towards the end of the season there. But Verstappen now up into P4, and that would be the position he needs to win the World Championship here. Surely Perez won't fight him too hard for it. I mean, if Red Bull were real here, they would be just telling Perez, right, Verstappen's through, back everybody up beyond belief there. But look at that, Alonso. Fernando Alonso now is immediately on for the move on Sergio Perez as well. So Verstappen's not going to get enough respite just yet. We just need to see Alonso able to hassle the Dutchman as well. But like I said, I think if this was real life, Alonso would rather that Verstappen wins the world title. I just don't think he'd want to see McLaren win. Oh, and I'm just getting a little bit worried that we don't seem to have the pace over Charles Leclerc right now, as he will fly back past us. But will we see Alonso do the same to Max once again? He's gaining on the Dutchman as they make their way up the back straight there. But I just want to see him ahead on the last lap of the GP, as Verstappen once more will hang on from Fernando Alonso. I need it to be Hamilton in P6 there, who's willing to try and go for something as well on the Dutchman here. But at the moment, I think Verstappen might just about have enough, unless Alonso can again get another good run down in towards the next hairpin, which he can. He just cannot seem to hang close enough through the rest of the lap to then be able to get the run on the Dutchman here. I'm still just going to work with Charles Leclerc, but of course, because Ferrari have got the jump on everybody else, you know, if everyone was still bunched up, we could have tried to back up into Alonso and Verstappen again and then try to get back to the front. That's not going to happen though tonight. 2 laps to go of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the season finale of our trying to make Lando Norris world champion, and it is really coming down to the wire here. Verstappen desperate to try and hold on ahead of Alonso. That's what he needs. P4 tonight would be enough for him to wrap up the world title, irrespective of what we're able to do there. And you can just see by the time they get into the DRS detection point, Verstappen has got about 0.8 of a second over Alonso. Could he go under pressure from Sergio Perez behind? He just cannot get close enough to Max, though. This is the problem. Down the back straight we go. And you can just see, yeah, Verstappen able to hang on ahead of Alonso once again there. And Alonso just does not seem to close in on him. I'm going to try and go for the move around the outside of Charles then. Try and take some of the life out of these soft compound tyres. But Alonso, I think he's working with Verstappen here. He's just not trying to get too close to him at the moment. Unless he's trying to go for a last lap attack or something like that. I think at the moment, Verstappen's going to win this thing. There's nothing we can do. We are completely powerless at the front of the order. All we can do is try and hold Charles Leclerc back here with 1 lap to go. But unless Alonso can get a little bit closer, unless he's held up a little bit more of his battery into the final lap of this World Championship, I think Verstappen's going to do it here. Let's wait and see as this final lap unfolds. Of course, we need to make sure still, with all of that going on behind, that we still get the better of Charles Leclerc here. But out through turn 1 and turn 2, Verstappen again just opening up that gap over Alonso. He's almost got it up to a second here. The pace of that Red Bull, absolutely relentless. We have not seen it fall down the order like we have IRL. As here comes Charles Leclerc then, trying to get a run on me one final time. But will Alonso be able to do anything against Max? The gap up to 0.8 of a second here. Charles Leclerc trying to just go for the win here at Abu Dhabi as he gets the car slowed down beautifully in towards that corner. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the gap behind, as Verstappen again has got enough to hold off from Alonso there. Will Alonso be able to get the traction down out onto this second of the back straights there? Will Alonso be able to get close enough to the Dutchman? He seems like he's going to be closer this time, but I don't think he's going to do it. Fernando Alonso here has worked with Max Verstappen. He does not want to see McLaren and Lando Norris win the world title. As we round our way through the final corners, we've done everything we can tonight, but still, despite everything that's gone on this year, it is not going to be enough. 2 points in it as we round the final corner. Max Verstappen is still a 4-time world champion.
Well done, boys. Proud of all of you.
Out of the last corner for the last time, Lando Norris is victorious.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or locked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they're able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, there we are then. Despite everything we threw at it, Verstappen still will wrap up the world title there. And sorry, it wasn't by 2 points, it was by 1 point. come the end of the year, of course. One of the closest ever season finales here in Formula 1. But yeah, Alonso, he just worked with the Dutchman towards the end of the Grand Prix there to make sure that Verstappen was going to be world champion there. We come through for the win ahead of both Ferraris. Verstappen in 4th ahead of Alonso, Sergio Perez. Hamilton and Oscar Piastri could do nothing in the end, with Gasly and Lance Stroll rounding out your top 10 here in Abu Dhabi. But that's been a really, really good fun series. Maybe we'll do another one in 2025. I've had a lot of fun just trying to match the IRL season. And of course, it's given us a decent passage to talk about what's been going on IRL in Formula 1 as well. Of course, if you guys have enjoyed this series, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. There'll be plenty more Formula 1 content coming between now and the end of the year, and of course into 2025 as well. There, of course, full points will be on your screens right now, but yeah, gutted. I mean, you just look back, it was that mistake in Singapore and the AI's OP strategy in Mexico that really did cost us there. We got a lifeline back into it with Verstappen's Brazilian Grand Prix DNF. But yeah, not the way I wanted this season to finish for us there. But that's Formula 1 sometimes, and hopefully, obviously, we've got a few other championships coming down to the wire over the next few weeks. Obviously, Formula 2 and the driver career mode as well here on the channel. Hopefully, in both of those, we can try and claim the crown. But yeah, that's going to do us for this one. Like I said, thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 content.